afternoon and welcome once again to the SCORE Business Showcase. We have a super guest with us, has come up with an original idea. This is really going to be interesting, you guys out there in SCORE land. But I'd like to welcome Anthony Graffeo. Welcome,
Thank you.
Anthony.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Glad to have you. And he's with, the name of the company is Flip Rock's Extreme Flip Flops. So we're going to see the application, and also we'll see maybe some of the challenges and also the successes that Anthony has gone through in developing this product. So, Anthony, what made you come up with the concept of Flip Rocks?
So I'm an avid fisherman, and I've been fishing since I was about 4 years old. And I was actually upstate at one of our vacation houses, well, the vacation house we have up by Lake Ontario. And I was fishing in the summertime, late summer, for salmon in the Salmon River in Pulaski, New York. And I was with my son. He was 8 at the time. This is about 2.5 years ago. And we were crossing the river in our flip-flops because it was warm out. And normally people use boots with cleats on them and waders and things like that. But in the summertime, the water's warm enough where you don't really need that, but it's safer to be in gear as opposed to flip-flops.
Yes.
As we were crossing, the current was kind of strong, and I was holding on to him. And just thought to myself, why don't they make a cleated flip-flop that's, will stay on your feet and have good traction for slippery rocks and currents. So went back to the house. I told my wife. She thought it was a great idea. I went back to my day job and told some guys there, and they immediately thought that has to be invented. There's got to exist now. And they're doing some searches, cleated flip-flops, extreme flip-flops, nothing. They have a couple types of water shoes, but nothing like what we were trying to think of that would be really, well tailored for this application.
Yes.
So from that, we kind of went on our journey, and I didn't know the first thing about shoes. I didn't know anything about shoes, how to manufacture shoes, how to design shoes. So it was really a huge learning curve.
I'm sure.
So we ended up, the first thing we did was to hire a designer and tell him our ideas. And they were based out of Westport. And they said, yeah, it doesn't exist right now. They checked the patents on it, and that was really good. And we got our provisional patent, which is good for a year.
Okay.
We're getting our design patent now. Not design patent. You have to cut this part because I forgot the name of the patent. Oh boy.
I'm sure it'll come to you.
Yes.
But let me ask you this question. And what about your logo design and the name for the product? Where did you draw your inspiration for these brandings?
So we went with the ocean iguana because it's got a very amazing claw grip, and if you've seen them on sheer cliffs and things like that, the waves are crashing against the cliffs and they're on the rocks and they don't move.
They're holding on, yeah.
Right. Right. So we tried to basically use that as our.
I think they got glue on their fingers. That's what it is.
Exactly right. So that's where it kind of came from, the lizard and the logo.
Excellent. Now, what is your connection with fishing and the outdoor enthusiast lifestyle?
So initially it was for fishing we came up with the idea, but then based on we have two other partners in the company. We've got our web designer and our CMO. My CMO actually kind of once we talked about the idea originally, he was thinking that this would be great for hiking as well, so doing like extreme hiking and things like that. And that's where the different pads came into play. So what we've done is basically we've constructed one shoe with different applications. So not only hiking pads, I can show those to you if you'd like to see them.
Yes, please.
So this is our cleated version here. This was the original concept, but then we wanted to make it more versatile because obviously if you have this, you can't walk into Kmart, for example, or Walmart, and with cleats on. So
right. In fact, this looks like you can play football with these things.
Yeah, people have mentioned that golf might be a good application as well, and they thought that'd be really neat. So, but these actually come off, and then you could actually switch the bottoms with. This is our water version for boating and for kayaking and things like that. This is actually felt. So if you wanted to switch these out, for example, and you were changing sports or activities, you just take that off, and of course this is the one for the other shoe, but basically we just go right on like that.
Okay.
And very easy. It's industrial Velcro. It does not come off. We've been testing these extensively. And they work. We actually walked the Appalachian Trail 10 miles with our regular bottoms, which are these without the cleats. That's just basically our rubber bottoms.
Yes.
So that's the three we have right now, the three different kinds of applications.
Boy, these really look good. Plus, I like the, if you won't stub your toe.
Yes. Interestingly, yes, that's exactly right. When we were initially testing them, I kicked a rock full stride, and that moment in your mind where you're like, that's going to really hurt, and then there was nothing. I was like, okay, toe guard works.
Excellent. Now, what is your target market?
Our demographic is we're thinking 18 to 50. That's kind of our demographic right now. And of course, we've got I can show you in a second, we've got a smaller model for children we're just coming up with now. It's our prototype. But really, that's our main demographic, is that 18 to 50 active lifestyle. A lot of folks, believe it or not, just want these for just walking around the house. I've gotten a bunch of calls from people that said that they scratch their toes a lot when they walk, and they constantly banging into things, and they want them just for walking around town, which is nice. So
fantastic.
That wasn't really our initial goal, but it's kind of gravitating that way.
Exactly. Now, where do you see your product going into the future?
I mean, we've got grandiose ideas here. We're thinking this is going to be huge and very widely accepted, across the U.S. And we have interest now in Europe, believe it or not, already. And we're in the process of manufacturing them now as we speak. We've got orders, and we're doing a Kickstarter campaign later this month. Will be launched for more revenue, because right now I've mortgaged my house to kind of come up with the money, and I'm kind of get to the point now where I'm getting really low on funds. So we really have to raise some capital.
So that's part of the challenge of being in business.
Absolutely, the tooling costs and things like that.
Exactly.
And,
And how about as far as your successes? What has been a success story with this so far?
Well, we have a ton of orders right now. We've got different types of stores that want to order them. We've actually Nordstrom's expressed interest. A lot of the Facebook folks where I kind of initially started my testing on the social media sites, they were really, really enthusiastic about it and wanted them, they really want them badly. They're asking when they're going to be ready, and so we've had great success on social media, especially with Facebook. Yeah,
and it sounds like Field and Stream would probably be interested in this also.
Yeah, we're going to pitch all those folks once we have our Kickstarter going, yes.
Excellent, excellent. Now, is your company socially responsible?
Yeah, I mean, well, in terms of socially responsible, we want to give back to the communities once we obtain a little bit of success, because right now it's kind of hard without any funds, but we definitely want to give back, and looking at ways to do that right now, actually. So, that'll be something we're going to definitely consider once we have the funds to be able to do that.
All right, so because it looks like you're thinking about donating to charities.
Exactly, yes. Exactly, yes.
All right, excellent, excellent. Now, are you working on any partnership currently, or seeking any partnerships or sponsorships in the industry?
We are. We're trying to look to some of the larger corporations like Bass Pro Shop, for example, to basically give them a lease on the product to be able to use the patent, but use their own branding as well.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of like what we'd like to do with some of those larger companies, Cabela's and things like that. Give them
so they can put their name on it.
Exactly right.
Okay.
Yes.
All
right.
Oh, that's a
while retaining ownership of the design and whatnot and the patent. Yeah.
Oh, excellent. That's a super idea.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I was just at Bass Pro Shop like a couple months ago. One of the things that I saw that was very useful was they have a little red wagon that's foldable. Right, you can carry a lot of stuff in. And it's, matter of fact, my wife is trying to take over that thing now.
Yeah.
But this would be, it's also good for the beach, right? So you could have your little red wagon, plus your flip-flops to go along with it.
Yeah.
Now, how have your friends and family played a role with the development of this product, and have they influenced you or provided feedback?
Yeah, one thing I've learned is that when you have an idea with anything, and you start to talk to people, friends, family, it really is the most important thing, I think, in entrepreneurship in terms of getting feedback. A lot of the things here, like the toe guard, for example, that wasn't my idea. That was a buddy of mine who I mentioned to him. He's a really avid fisherman as well and gets Top Gear. And I mentioned this, and he says, yeah, I'd be worried about my toes, though. He's like, I'm really concerned. So that is where this kind of came into play, because I wasn't thinking about a toe guard. Okay. He mentioned it to me, and then it made perfect sense once he said it, but if I didn't talk with him, I wouldn't know that.
Yes.
And my sister, believe it or not, she, we had our first tagline was the all-amphibious, extreme. It was very long and very drawn out. We were trying to encapsulate everything we could think of. And she's like, listen, they're extreme flip-flops. You're using that in other areas. They're extreme flip-flops. And stick with the tag. Quick and simple, So things like that have been, really, really helpful. And, of course, my CMO with the design of having the hiker model, for example, that wasn't something I was thinking about originally. So as we talk to people and get different ideas, we incorporate ones that make sense, obviously. So in that entry-level phase when you're building out a product or a service, it's really good to not have to change everything down the road. When you're starting off from square one, it's easy to do things like that. If this was already developed, they're like, hey, why don't you change everything else? Now you're back to tens of thousands of dollars in retooling. So that's pretty important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now this, it seems pretty sturdy as far as the product is concerned. How long can we expect this to last?
Well, it's funny. We were going to go with a lifetime warranty, And I want to just do more. We don't want to do that off the bat right now. We're going to stick with probably a 1-year warranty to start. We think they're going to last forever, but we would once we have it out in the market. And flip-flops tend to only last about 1.5 years anyway. Normal flip-flops.
Yes.
These should last a lot longer. They have a metal shank in the sole, so they're actually quite rigid and also flexible at the toe. So the goal there is that when you're walking on rocks, regular flip-flops tend to twist and contort. If you notice that, these don't do that. These are like you're actually in boots almost.
Okay.
But they're super light. I mean, as you could tell, they weigh nothing, barely.
But it seems like you have to take these off when you go through an airport. Metal detector, huh?
I actually took them to Las Vegas to show the flip-flop shops down there, and they didn't go off. I mean, they were in my bag. I didn't wear them through I had the regular pads, but the metal cleats didn't go off or anything, and the shank didn't go off either. So, surprisingly, I don't know why, but we got through. No issues.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it does look like a very well-made product. Seems like it should last for quite some time. Usually what happens with these flip-flops, first thing that usually goes is this part right here.
Yes.
So that can be a challenge, right, with some of those flip-flops out there.
Yeah. I should probably mention this. The back strap is interesting. It comes removable. So a lot of people don't like straps on any types of shoes. That's why they have flip-flops, because they don't want straps. So you can actually take these off, and you don't have to even have them on at all. So now you have a regular flip-flop again. So if you wanted to, we kind of have this notion where we wanted to say, 4-wheel drive.
Yes.
If you need it, freedom when you want it, grip when you need it is kind of one of our taglines as well. So now you're a regular flip-flop. You don't have to have that. If you're going in a extreme environment and you're hiking up vertical mountains, you want the strap, obviously. Right. If you're in a river or you're in the ocean, you're on the jetties or rocks and things like that, you're going to want the strap. But if you don't have to have it.
Well, this is an excellent idea.
Thank you.
It's super. It looks like it has flexibility.
Yes.
To it. So that's super.
And customizable in a way,
Yes.
Kind of like we have that razor model where you buy the razor and you can get the pads, the different types of blades. It's kind of like that type of,
Exactly. Very good. Now, has the response been positive thus far, as far as sales and generating interest?
Extremely positive. Extremely positive. Yeah, we've been doing some test campaigns on Facebook, and with very small spends on Facebook, we're getting hundreds of likes and hundreds of shares on literally $50 spends. Mm-hmm. So when we do our larger campaigns, obviously we're going to expect that number to grow tremendously. And
this, it seems like it would go well in warm weather climate areas, like Florida,
absolutely.
California. Yeah. We're getting ready to go to Virginia Beach. Virginia Beach would enjoy this.
Yep.
So you have a great expectation going on with this little product here.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned the beach there. I've actually tested out in Long Island, and the sand it's amazing in sand. It works really well. It's only way I can explain it is that you feel totally secure in these. You don't feel like you're at all unstable or whatnot. And the sand clears right out of them. Regular water shoes. This I wanted to definitely mention that. Regular water shoes, as we talked before, they tend to get rocks and sand in them, and you have to take them off to clear them, and it's just a hassle. Yeah,
I was doing a photo shoot last year up at Hammonasset Park, and I didn't realize how dangerous it is out there on the beach, shooting. It's very slippery with the rocks. I had the water shoes on, and you had those small pebbles coming in there, and you can't get them out while you're shooting. Very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I was thinking about even the models. They could use something like this because we're not shooting their feet when they're in the water.
Yep, exactly right.
So I can see some great possibilities with these shoes. Another place they would go well at is my favorite place in the world is Hawaii. All right. They'd be using this day and night.
Yeah, they have those jagged rocks there, right? That volcanic rock is pretty, from what I understand, right?
Yeah, in some of the areas, but also they have fine sand in some of the areas also. But just a lot of people walk around in these type of shoes. All right, so I think it would put aloha in there or something.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Hang loose, relax. Now, what outlets are using the advertising, such as social media or word of mouth, or a little bit of both?
We found Facebook to be the best medium for us, to be honest. We're on Twitter, of course. We're on Instagram. We're doing our campaigns. Google, we haven't targeted at all. In terms of Google, the advertising spend you would need to make any type of impact is tremendous.
Okay.
Very expensive. So Facebook, for a fraction of the cost, you can reach a ton of people. You can target them by demographics, very easy. And it's much more cost effective, really is. Okay. And we find that to be the best way to.
Now, how about LinkedIn? Have you tried that?
Not yet. We're on LinkedIn, but we haven't really made a major push on there yet. We will in the future. We haven't as to date.
Very good. Now, what made you decide to get involved in this? What is your background? Were you into flip-flops? What's the story?
So I'm a serial entrepreneur. I own a couple different businesses. I have a gutter cleaning business. I have real estates. I have some houses we rent out on the real estate side. I have a tech background, actually.
Okay.
I've been in technical media for the last 15 years. So all these things kind of, with the entrepreneurship and the technical background and the love of my passion, my sports and things that I do, it kind of just all, it came together and just made sense to explore. And again, not knowing anything about shoes, I've learned a tremendous amount. I mean, you would be surprised on how much you need to know about shoes. I mean, even flip-flops, you think they're fairly easy to think about, but there's so much involved. I mean, there's the materials, there's the tooling, there's the, the ways things are going to work and fit, and there's just so many different things to think about that you don't realize until you get into it.
And I see that you have, how many colors does this come into?
So right now we have 3. We've got all black, which I'm wearing now. We've got the green camo, the blue camo, and that's basically where we are. We'd like to do more colors, but you got to be careful because then you start to get into too many markets, and now people don't like certain colors. Now you're stuck with extra inventory, so we're trying to go based on the market, what they're asking for.
Now you did mention that you have shoes for children.
Yes.
What do they look like?
So here are the children's models here. This is obviously the girls, and this is the boys. The goal here was to come up with a really well-designed flip-flop, if you will, that can be used for pretty much the same things we're doing with the adults, hiking, beach going, things like that. The pads do not come off. It's solid rubber.
Okay.
We didn't want to, obviously that'd be kind of, I don't think a child would want cleats on their flip-flops, but in terms of it staying on their foot, I have 4 children, so my kids love flip-flops, and we don't really they don't make a decent flip-flop that's got a good strap, that's contoured, that's got an arch, a toe guard, and that's kind of the whole premise behind this. We can't find those either right now on the market. So we see a niche. We've got tons of orders for these. My wife's been showing her friends, and they all want them. So. And
kids are apt to actually stub their toe.
Yes,
often. So
absolutely.
This would be great. Matter of fact, I can imagine the children, they're going to say that now we're just like mommy and daddy.
Yes, yep, exactly. One of them all as a family activity all together, be able to.
So you could actually use these when you actually go bicycling, actually.
Sure, yep. We actually ran in these. We were running through the woods. On our Kickstarter video, which will come out soon, you'll see we were actually doing some really fast running through woods, and they stay on like no problem. It's like you're in shoes, basically.
Now I see that you have your logo on your T-shirt, also on your hat. Do you actually, is that part of the advertising campaign also? Yeah,
well, actually, this is apparel that we're going to be selling with the shoes. So we want to get into this. The whole theme is to be light, not have to be weighed down by, all the typical gear you would have if you were doing such activities. So this is a quick dry shirt. It's excellent water shirt, very comfortable. It's all polyester.
Okay.
We've gotten tremendous response for these. We have a red and a black version of the lizard, the logo. And so we're going to get into shorts. We want to get into just light clothing for summer type of clothing.
Exactly.
Quick dry.
Now, you have shoes. Are you going to come out with, you have shirts actually, you come in, maybe with running gear or anything like that to go along with it? Has that been a thought?
It's funny you mention that. We've actually had some people come to us and say that, we could see Nike taking this concept and making a sneaker that would have different bottoms, cleat bottoms, rubber bottoms, different types of traction. So it's kind of a universal idea if you think about it, because any shoe could have different types of bottoms on them, right?
Right.
So that would be like the ideal scenario if Nike were to come and then license the technology from us. That would be like really a great progression. But that's kind of in its infancy right now in terms of like our exploring those avenues.
Oh, this is fantastic. So this is the first time actually we should feel privileged to having you on our show. This sounds like this is really going to go somewhere, and it's very exciting. I can imagine you guys are excited about this.
Yeah, it's very, I'll tell you, it's ups and downs. You get really, really super excited, and you get really worried. You're like, oh my gosh, I've spent all this money. This has to work. And then you think, well, of course it's going to work. Everybody loves it. It's going to be fantastic. And you kind of, like in your mind, you play this little game on yourself, like repetitively. So.
Yes, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Well, let me suggest, we have some other books we're going to suggest, but since you thought about mention that, a book I think that you would enjoy is called The Magic of Believing. All right, and it addresses some of those things you just mentioned when you're thinking, oh, is it really going to happen? Is it really going to come about? And it actually addresses those situations. And actually, the Magic of Believing, the book, when you read it, you'll find that it works 7 days a week, all right, 24 hours a day. All right, and it's all how we think and what we're drawing to us. I'm sure you're familiar with the laws of attraction, all right, and it talks about that, it covers that, how that really can work in your life. Now, we talked a little bit about where you're going to see yourself down the road, but where do you see yourself, let's say, in the next year with your product?
So we expect to have, all our models are being designed right now. Our tooling is basically done as we speak. So we're going to launch within the next month or two in terms of getting the product to market. We expect to sell out very quickly just based on the orders we have currently. And the idea is to obviously grow the company. We want to get into some of the larger retail stores. The small guy, mom and pop shops, we've got orders from them already. But we'd like to get this more of a nationwide type of launch where we're getting much larger orders so we can fulfill those and grow. So within a year, we hope to be profitable. Right now, of course, we're in debt. Obviously, we're a startup. We hope to be profitable in a year, and from there we hope to just the hockey stick type scenario, in terms of.
So let's talk a little bit about that, because with all businesses, they go through their challenges, and so what are some of the challenges have played into putting your shoe together?
So that's a great question. Some of the challenges we've had and things we would never think about is tariffs, for example. The tariffs range from anywhere from 0 to 33%, and that's a pretty massive hit if you think about that.
Yes.
So you have to. So we've been trying to, and we're there now. But initially, we had to worry about the types of materials we're using. This elastic right here, for example, if this is over 90, I think it's 92%, or under 92%, excuse me, then you get taxed at a much higher, tariffed at a much higher rate.
Really?
So yes, the more like leather, for example, is much lower, 6% tariff. So you want to be at 6%, obviously.
So like tires, in other words, most likely.
Right, exactly.
Rubber.
Yes. So like felt, for example, is at a 12% tariff, and we have felt bottoms. So, the thing is to make sure that we're able to not bankrupt ourselves in terms of the materials and the tariffs, and the shipping costs are tremendous as well. And so things like that you don't think about, in terms of materials and costs of.
So you had to do some research and development.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we had to adjust the strap. We were getting some blisters, so we had to fix those things, and we had to change the inside of the upper. This is the upper here.
Yes. Well, it looks like a well-built shoe, as I mentioned.
Yeah, this is the 8th model right now, actually.
The 8th model.
Yeah. We've had our first model was our 3D print, and then we had our Ren, which is our plastic model, and then our first rubber model, and then this.
All right. Well, you've come a long way.
Yeah.
You've come a long way.
Yeah.
And it looks like we had mentioned before, and what about it? This looks like a golf shoe, right there.
Yeah, it's not really geared toward golf right now, but I mean, people are going to use it for what they're going to use it for. So if they think it works great for golf or roofing, for that matter, I mean, whatever they think it would work for, we're there.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Let me share. One of the things about SCORE is we invite people to our facility to actually go over their serious questions they have, maybe about sales, marketing, and of course, SCORE is known for putting together, or at least helping and directing people as far as a business plan is concerned. But also, of course, fans out there, you can come on TV and also showcase your business. But one of the things we like to share with individuals is books, and one of them that I recently was reintroduced to was this book here, Selling the Invisible. All right, it's actually a marketing book. I found out about it, actually was reintroduced to it, going to a photography seminar. All right, and actually it has to deal with dealing with people and also the marketing concept. Now, about a month ago, we talked about this book also, Option B. I haven't even read the total book yet. All right, I just flipped through it. I've shared it with an individual. I told him last time, actually, that when I talked to this person I gave it to, I said, I don't even want to read the book because he's been giving me so much feedback on it. He lost his wife, and he was in a class where they help those individuals. He got out of the class because of this book, all right, the resilience that it brought to his life. And matter of fact, he told me about it the other day, just sending me a text message. He's so excited about it. So I would suggest it too. It's written by Sheryl Sandberg. She is the COO of Facebook, and I think you need to get your copy. excellent, especially if you're in business. It helps with adversity. But I tell you, it's really been a pleasure, all right, having you with us, Anthony. All right, I'm excited, totally excited about your shoe, and or I should say the flip-flop.
Yeah.
All right, that it's so versatile. I like the edge guard there, all right, the kick stop, so to speak. All right, boy, this is fantastic, and plus the bottoms. I think that would a lot of people are interested in that, and of course the children's model. All right, they're going to flip out over that over shoe. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to thank you once again for tuning in to the SCORE Business Showcase. It's been a pleasure. Look us up at the credits. And once again, I'd like to thank Anthony for coming down and enjoying our show this afternoon.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.